Mikee P in the Money Players podcast, our Assiniboia Down show, weekly show for Tuesdays for the Pick Four. And I'm joined by a guy that he was on one of these shows with me a couple years ago for Assiniboia. But I know that he's definitely a big thoroughbred player. You're going to see a lot of him on the channel this week for harness coverage. But Edison Hatter in the house for some ASD. And Edison, I know you were talking to the Assiniboia Downs people when we were at the symposium. So they're familiar with you. I'm sure they're going to be happy to see your face here.
Yeah, always glad to get to do some thoroughbred coverage. And, in terms of my ownership, the only thing I'm going to have going pretty soon is going to be a thoroughbred that's going to be starting down in Virginia, Colonial Downs, hopefully a couple times this summer before coming up to Maryland. So I definitely enjoy my time on the thoroughbred side. Look, you'll listen to my first, 3 months of race calls at Rosecroft. You hear all these thoroughbred terms everywhere because I started as a big thoroughbred fan and still am to this day. So always happy to jump in on some thoroughbred coverage. And look, you know me, Mike, I'll gamble on anything, anywhere, anytime. Assiniboia, I love, even before we started doing this partnership, because it's just such a good time window they have, that late Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, summer timeline. It's just a really, really good window for them. And it's a really good wagering product as well. And it definitely produces some good racing.
Yeah, it's perfect. 8:30 Eastern is the first race. We've got 7 races this week. The fields are getting much bigger. The distances are getting longer in the races. And Edison, the handle has been very good. I mean, they've been close to 1 million. I think they were close to 1 million on Wednesday last week. But the Pick Four pools are stellar. They got a 50,000 guarantee. They don't need it. They're pushing 100,000 almost every week with those Pick Fours, that dollar late Pick Four. And now we got the $3 Pick Threes, and they're rolling $3 Pick Threes now here. This 7 race card on Tuesday. I love those higher minimums. Just touch on your thoughts on it, because I know that you're a fan of this as well.
Well, I've already made enough donations to the Assiniboia meet this year, so I probably helped them to some of those guarantees. But the bigger minimums are definitely better, right? I mean, for me personally, with kind of a larger-ish, I guess, bankroll compared to some people, Mike, I usually am firing large dollar amount minimums on these multi-race sequences anyway. But when everyone kind of has to do it, it really does force you to be more selective. And the same goes for me, right? I mean, regardless of what your base wager amount is, you're talking about number of combinations. You still want to be reasonably cut down on that, right? So when you're talking about $3 Pick Threes now, and especially, you're right, I commented when I was printing them out today, it's like 11 pages or whatever was the DRF here. This is a lot of pages for the 4 races. So large fields as well. It provides you a lot of combinations, right? I mean, 10 by 10 by 10, 310 horse field. You're talking about 1,000 different Pick 3 combinations at $3 minimums. Only so many of those combinations to be covered compared to with a 20 or 50 or dollar minimum even.
Yeah, and these Pick 3 pools are looking pretty sharp. The double pools right now are averaging around 10,000. The Pick 3 pools are averaging 20,000. So there's value in these Pick 3 pools. And, you're getting some nice payouts also. Just looking, $3 Pick 3 there on Wednesday this past week. With reasonably priced horses, you have horses paying $10, $9, and $6. And, you got a $3 late Pick 3 that paid $450. I mean, that is massive value. So those higher minimums, Edison, I do think are leading to these higher payouts. And I do think you're getting some more retail players in these pools. Anytime we can get that, it's better for us.
It definitely is. And, I think right now is really the time to jump in at a place like Assiniboia. In fact, in general, I love times like this, start of meets, because you kind of got this fun mismatch of horses maybe coming from elsewhere, horses that have taken the winter off, and it really provides opportunities that, is this horse ready to roll off of the longest layoff since the last meet?
Right.
If so, then maybe you're going to get a little better price if people are kind of wondering time off, Alternatively, if you don't like that horse, maybe you'd rather somebody who's had a little bit more experience, couple of fresher starts. So I think right now is really an interesting time before, obviously with them being so distantly remote from other racetracks, you're going to see eventually kind of the same horses, and obviously every time horses race, different pace scenarios, we do get different results. But, right now, really, it's really, truly a little bit of organized chaos in a good way when it comes to gambling possibilities.
Well, I'm going to make you do some handicapping now. And 7 races this week at Assiniboia on Tuesday night. We got some much bigger fields showing up, Edison. Starting race number 4 for the $1 guaranteed $50,000 late Pick 4. Got a dollar minimum, of course, 5.5 furlongs, condition allowance horses here. Now we have 7 horses, but this is not an easy race. This is basically numbers of 3 types. Start a Pick 3 in here also, but I'm going to be focused on that Pick 4. Where'd you go to kick it off?
Well, it's a great preview that I just said. We're gonna toss the favorite here, Sophia Storm. There's one of those question marks, right? Hasn't been seen since last October. Look, I mean that race last time out probably could win here, but kind of interesting to see this horse claimed there at the end of the meet. Sat in new connections in the off season. Look, 4 for 7 in the Assiniboia, definitely can get the job done, but we got to find value in the sequence somewhere. So this is one I'm willing to take a stand against. And the most interesting one to me at 5-1 on the morning line is the 5 Witslow Ringer, who comes in from Texas and has plenty of early speed. So you got to figure this one's going to get out of there. Should get the jump, I think, on the at least morning line favorites. So I just kind of like the way this race could set up for this one. The inexperienced type, just going to be the 6th start here for the 3-year-old, taking on, Sophia Storm is going to be coming back as a 7-year-old now. So I think there's a lot of upside to the 5 coming in from Texas here. And also the 2, Casually Classy. Again, last time out, or 2 starts ago rather, was well beaten by Sophia Storm. So, that's a negative. But this one did get a start here in the meet. So 2nd start of the year, chance for this one to take a step forward. Again, I just kind of like that recency element here to see if this one can take a step forward. And look, I think if you look at some of the form there and some of the prices we're spent, I don't think this one's going to really play around that 3-1 morning line. In fact, I think you kind of flip them. I think the 5-1 morning line, the higher price, the 5, I think that's going to become the 2, and I think the 5 probably take a little bit of money with some of that speed coming in from Texas. So 2-5 for me, going to take a stand against the 4 here, who again, based on that last race, probably is the favorite, but I think beatable.
Yeah, and I get the 5. That's my top pick also with Little Ringer. And this one, speed in Texas, you get Jerry Gourneau coming up, and he's already off to a massive start. Has 7 wins at the meet, and he has 13 shares with 30 starters. So his horses are coming in live. A lot of them are coming in with recency over many here because he's bringing them up from Fauner, bringing them up from Texas. So this one has speed, was in a 75 non-2 at Lone Star last time. Well, this is quite the drop in class here. So this one's going to need to be caught. And I do think probably will go a very long way on the front. But others, I think, have chances. I know you pitched the 4, Sophia Storm. But of the others, I think that she's the most likely as a 7-year-old mare with 13 lifetime wins to come and catch the 5 if that one should falter. Loves this racetrack, 4 wins. I do think that, has raced well in the past in May and June over this track. So if you look back to last year, a couple nice wins with really nice figures. Those figures win this race. So yeah, I understand what you're saying with this one, but I do think Fitz versus these horses. I'm going to pitch the 2. I can't. You mentioned 3-1 morning line. This horse was 84-1 last time it faced the 4. So it was 30-1 off the comeback. That race well there, but it's going to need to step up to handle a couple of these horses here. So I wouldn't use that one, but maybe I would use the 1 I'm in control as a B. Some of these Hastings horses and these Century horses are racing very well so far at this meet. Now, 5.5 might be a little short for this horse, but I do think it has the figures, has the back class at these listed stakes type races. It's a 4-year-old filly that I think maybe could improve in this spot. So I like the 5 and the 4 a little more, but I might throw the 1 on tickets as a possible upsetter, especially as a B type race number 4 on Tuesday. Go to race 5 and $5,500 claimers. They're going 5 here at Edison. And this is another tricky race. I liked Load Abroad last time, and really it was favored there on May the 13th. And that was a stinker. Got the front early and ended up, coming back through the field very quickly. But this horse has some back class, likes this track. Did win 3 times last year. You get Whitehall now. He's red hot so far. Has 6 wins and 14 starts so far this meet. So I like that one, and I think that a lot of my money would run through that one. And then, the 6 Let Freedom Bling is another one I think plays very well. Here we are, Jerry Gourneau again, came up from Fauner last time and certainly improved greatly off that prior line. Now, that was a sloppy track on April 25th. I would pitch that race out. So this one is sort of right there. I do think has possibilities. You get a jockey switch too, and there's just those would be the 2 for me. 2 and 6 in the 5th race. What say you?
Great minds think alike, or misery likes company. I also like the 2 Load Abroad. Look, I obviously being a huge Charlestown fan, having run horses there, and growing up, that was the track I always bet and followed. Right, 4.5 furlongs out of the chute there, 5 furlongs here. They're not that much longer. So point being, if you end up with any sort of problems, it's almost like a quarter horse distance in some ways. It feels like, right? So when you read for Load Abroad last time out, broke slow, ended up in that duel, steadied on the turn. I mean, that's a lot of trouble to run into. So I don't really necessarily hold that last line too much against it for as fast as she seemed to back up. Obviously was a beaten favorite there, but like you mentioned, all the reasons you mentioned, the jockey switch this week, obviously some of the backlash we do see there. I think a very good choice here in this race. The 5 Indiana is the other one I'll use along with the 6. So for the 5 Indiana, you talked about some of these Hastings horses finding success here. This is one who has not been seen since last October, but did win first off the shelf last year in May, looking at that that line 8-9 races ago there to start last season. So definitely can be ready to go off the bench. And definitely has some early speed. And I think can be right there early on. We'll see how this one contends. And then let Freedom Bling, as you mentioned, again, same analysis you have there, right? Coming in from Nebraska, definitely took a good step forward there, and I think it continue to do so here in this race. So that's kind of the 3 for me, 2, 5, and 6, to be able to go a little deeper here because a little preview. I think there's a single coming in the next for me personally.
Yeah, if you're out of that late pick 4, jump in that $3 late pick 3 in those last 3 races. We got a couple big fields in races 6 and 7. Race number 6, 2 lives here. They're going 6 furlongs, and Edison, we have 11 horses signed up to the 11. I think one's an AE, but so nice big full field here. You have a single. Who is it?
So, as a general concept, I don't really love the first time winner, winner out of the maiden coming back in the next condition and then to bet that horse back. I usually don't love to do that, but prime suspect. I mean, you got all that class. This horse was debuted at Churchill, right? You've got some Oaklawn experience in there. You come to Assiniboia, you're 1-20. You absolutely manhandle that field by 6 lengths as easily as you can do it, to break the maiden. Now you come back into the first level allowance, but still, you got to figure that this one just takes care of business again. It is a big field. I still think he's going to be a short price, but I don't think there's really any way around him. So, like I said, that's why for me, pitch the favorite in the first leg, spread a little bit in that second leg. We'll be able to use a few in the last, but I just don't think there's any way around this one, to be honest.
Now, I'm not sure if you were watching that night with Prime Suspect, and that horse was in, and he was bet, but I mean the 1-9, a couple horses scratched at the gate that night, and this one obviously was going to be favored, but ended up a huge favorite when a couple of those scratches came out. So yeah, he did win, but it was a 4-horse race, and then there was a lot of things that went on in the gate there. He was supposed to win that race. Now this is a step up here. This horse is going to find all the money again, and I'm interested in a couple others. I understand this one, and I probably would use that one, but the 4 Wits 10 Touch. This one was very good last time, coming out of a stake at Fawner, and then showed up here in a 2 life and ran into Classico. Well, Classico was one of the bet horses in that spot. The other horse was in there was Mighty Mikey, who was 75 cents on the dollar there. Of course, having to go against that one in that spot, but he just didn't run at all. He's back in here. So it was just too bad to be believed. But Wits 10 Touch raced very well in there. Got the front, ended up getting tracked down by Classico, but held on very well to be second in there. This one's 10-1 morning line. It's going to be a price I do think could fly out of the gate again. And we'll see. We'll see if Prime Suspect is going to get that same kind of trip. Is going to have to definitely work much harder to beat this field, I think. So I would use Wits 10 Touch. I would certainly use your 6 Prime Suspect. It's hard to leave that one off tickets. And, of course, I'm going to use Mighty Mikey more as a B type. And just like I said, last time was too bad to be believed. A couple nice stakes wins last year, albeit state bred and restricted types. Likes this track. He was bet last time. So, I'm not sure what happened, but I'm sure the fact that he's right back in makes me think that, and he's had a workout since then. Also, that maybe just something was amiss that night. So I'm going to use some 4, I use some 6, and use some 3, and a pretty wide open, I think, kind of race number 6 on Tuesday.
Yeah, we definitely have differing thoughts there. I mean, I just, like I said, I think it's really tough to get around this favorite. Like you mentioned, it was interesting that it became a 4-horse race, but I personally don't think it really mattered. For me, it was just really visually impressive. I mean, I think he could have just as easily done that with a full field and bennies you wanted to kind of throw at him in there of those type of horses. I think he would have done about the same thing. So hopefully more people think your way, and he's not as short as I think he can be, but I think he can be out on again in here, even in 10-horse field.
Race number 7 to finish up this dollar minimum late pick 4 at Assiniboia on Tuesday. And we got another full field here, Edison, and it's 3 claimers. You have pretty much the bottoms here going 6 furlongs. How are we going to get paid?
Well, we're going to take a look here at the 6 and the 7. This is the 7 and the 8, another opportunity to go against the favorite here at 7 Gallon Oak. Maybe kind of trying that same card again, but you're talking about a horse who, has not been seen yet this year, finished second last time out. Another interesting one that was claimed, kind of sat around with new connections over the offseason, right? I think obviously had Whitehall riding last time out there when last year in September, finished second there. So I think possibilities to go against Curly Asa, the 7. Another one who, to be fair, has also not been seen since last year, in the same barn, though, in the offseason. Just missed by a neck there last time out. Has plenty of experience now, a 7-year-old. The 7 wins there in the past. And the 8, Mr. Dazzle, again, another one coming off layoff, as many are in this field, right? But, finished 4th 2 starts ago against tougher claimers, down to this level. Finished 3rd last time out. He's constantly hit the board, right? I mean, it's got like a 60% clip rate here to be able to finish in the money. Should be right there in the finish. And again, it's a tough race. It's a tough race to finish here with the 9 of them in this field. But that's kind of the 2 that I'm going to settle on. And like I said, the way I see it is, taking what hopefully is free bingo square in the last, and then trying to kind of hunt a couple of prices in the other legs to be able to make some sort of money. By the way, I'm really on the way to Sweden, Mike. I'm going to be watching this and betting this on Sweden. So you're going to hear a big cheer from the plane when I hit this ticket, hopefully.
Yeah, and that's great for watching this on the plane. I mean, I can't think of anything better, honestly, to be watching. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is working very well.
The greatest plane ride ever was when you and I went to Phoenix together for the symposium. So that way, 2 of us together, your iPad, my computer. We had like 3 screens: Sunday football, Sunday racing. Like, that was fantastic.
I do remember that, actually. That was a blast. And we got there, and I think we watched Monday Night Football or the Sunday Night Football in the bar. So we were.
I did. You were asleep by the end of the game. You weren't even awake to watch my go over.
I like Curly Issa in here. A lot of these horses take turns beating each other at this lower level. I liked this horse last year. I hate to say this, back in October, and got just picked off in the last couple jumps. This is a nice horse, though. He likes to win, and he's back in here. I'll use him. I agree with Mr. Dazzle, and I think under budget probably needs to be used also. 2 straight wins at this level to finish out last year. He's a closer. The barn's 2 for 3 so far, so the horses are showing up and racing very well. I think that one plays pretty well, especially from this outside post. They're going to be mixing it up here. If you're looking for a B type, maybe the 2, Bandera Azteca, is another one you can use. Did win for 7,500 here last year, going 6 furlongs. So just another one that fits. Wide open race to finish out the late pick 4. And Edison, Tuesday, we have a lot more bigger fields here. We got some different distances. Assiniboia now going in full swing, so I expect some big handle and some big payouts.
Yeah, definitely. Just sorry, real quick on that last race. I was going to say under budget was maybe the next one for me, but what's kind of funny is my trip notes. I kind of have got that perfect trip last time, right? Saved all that ground, got the right setup in front, but it very well could happen again here. Honestly, you've got it on paper. So, if you do, you'll probably get paid. You probably will be a fair price in there. But yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's been a great start to meet there at Assiniboia, and I mean, we're starting to see 6 race cards turning into 7 race cards. Hopefully, in the summer. We're seeing, smaller fields turn into larger fields. We're going to start seeing, I'm sure, some longer distance races in there as horses start to get fit and get into condition. So it's always an exciting time. Like I said, I think right now is kind of that sweet spot, really the sweet spot of the meet. First couple of weeks, short field, short race cards. Maybe there's not huge opportunities, but then later on, you're starting to see the same horses over and over again. You kind of establish the rhythm. This is kind of that moment, big fields, horses coming in from everywhere, horses coming off layoffs, bigger cards starting to come together. Really good money-making opportunities, and again, just with their spot on the calendar, it's always going to be good handle at Assiniboia.
Yeah, I love it, honestly. I mean, I've been doing this the last few years, and I get a lot of different people in here, and just some I introduced to the racetrack. Some are very familiar, like you, and just we're lifers. We love our ASD. We're going to continue to play this product, and we'll be here with you every week. So, Addison, enjoy Sweden. Thanks for jumping in here with me for some ASD coverage, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Absolutely. Like I said, thanks for giving me something to watch on the plane tomorrow.
This has been a production of In the Money Media. Get in on Assiniboia Tuesday nights. We'll see you next time.